Setnin Radio, hosted by Mark Newbold and Louis Turfrey.
Welcome to episode 12 of Setnin Radio. I'm Louis.
I'm Mark. What are we going to talk about this week, mate?
I think we're going to talk about your dirty weekend away down in somewhere south of the border.
Bournemouth. South of the border.
Well, south of the bloody north side.
Well, that's near enough. Yeah, went down to Bournemouth for the SF ball. Used to be called the sci-fi ball.
Yeah.
But then I think they just decided that was too unwieldy to keep writing it down, so it's now the SF ball.
No, I thought SF people were supposed to be, like, intelligent.
Probably. Way too intelligent for me, because I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Go on. Off our cop again.
Yeah, no, sorry, mate. Yeah, it was the 12th annual sci-fi ball. It's the second one I've been to, down in Bournemouth. Fantastic convention. Great bunch of people that run it, which I'll come to in a moment. But yeah, it's the fourth of their do's that I've been to. They do something in September called Reunion, which is held in Leicester. Yeah. And it actually took over from MidCon, and MidCon in Leicester had been going for a long, long time. The first ever Star Trek convention held in the UK was held in Leicester. So MidCon finished in the, I think it was the...
Why is it not held there now?
Well, Reunion's held there now. Reunion's there instead. So the guys that do Reunion sort of took over from MidCon. That's the lineage and the history of it. And it carries on now every year, and it's about the only big... It's predominantly Star Trek, but it's sci-fi in general. It's the only big sci-fi convention that's really, truly charity-based. But the one they do in February is the ball, the sci-fi ball, the SF ball. They've had some fantastic guests in the past. They've had Robert Picardo and Gates McFadden, and last year it was Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes were the two main guests, and this year it was it would have been William Shatner, but he had guests, and Jamie Bamber from Battlestar Galactica, who talks like Tony Blair. Not in any sort of nonsense, doesn't know what he's talking about sense, but in the way he talks, his tone of voice. That's who it reminded me of anyway. And I was very lucky, I got to meet them both and shake their hands and say hello, which is always nice. Another guest that was there was Jeremy Bullock, who's of course our own Boba Fett, who we've interviewed on the site.
Yes.
And he sort of took the place of Michael Sheard, Admiral Ossel, who always used to go to the SF Ball dues. But of course Michael died late last year, and it appeared to me anyway, without anybody actually implicitly saying it, that Jeremy has sort of taken that role from Michael, which would be fantastic because he's a smashing fella. The format of the ball, it's unlike any other convention really. I mean, on the Friday they have the opening ceremony and a disco and a proper bash on the Friday night, to which me and my friends who I went with really got stuck in, had a good night on the Friday. The Saturday all the guests start rolling out, and of course there was other guests. There was Melina Fortunata, who was from Enterprise, Arlene Martell, Celeste, the original series guests, Bobby Clark, who was the Gorn.
Right.
Who else was there?
The original Gorn?
The original Gorn.
Ooh.
Yeah, but he also played a couple of other roles in the original Trek as well. He was the guy that was in charge of all the wire work on 2001. All the zero-G wire work, he did all that. So he was quite an interesting fella. It was fantastic. On the Saturday, obviously you get your main talks from your main guests, so we saw Kate and Jamie's talks. And then on the evening it's the ball. So it's fancy dress, you see, it was pirate theme. I didn't have a costume, I just went in my tux, but beautiful meal, and then the fancy dress parade, and I think we didn't finish eating until 11 o'clock. Disco didn't start till midnight. Oh yeah, so that was great. And then on the Sunday, similar, they run through all the guests again, and the smart thing to do is to see the guests speak twice, because they always say different things. Fantastic. And I've got a couple of friends of mine down there, Sarah and Emma, who I got friendly with at Reunion a couple of years ago. Great pair of girls. And various other people that, faces that you see, regularly going to these conventions. So it's nice to get to know the people, and Anne, who runs it, is a smashing lady. You've got a filthy. And B, who is the host. Again, great fun. And James. Yep, James. Smashing fella. So no, it's really good. It's a great convention. They raised a lot of money for charity.
We got any ideas of the figures?
Charity raised?
Yeah.
Well, they handed over the cheque this year for last year, and I believe it was about £1,500, which is going it for a little convention like that.
It isn't actually bad, really, when you consider with all due respect to the game, not going to do it for free.
No. Well, Kate Mulgrew, for example, the New Voyages, Star Trek New Voyages, the whole cast came over. They were the other people.
Oh, yeah.
Really interesting. Kate Mulgrew flew in on the Saturday morning, went straight to the ball, signed autographs, had photographs taken with people as she does. Same for Jamie Bamber, and she was supposed to fly out on the... Because Jamie lives in London, so he was just driving back to London, but Kate was flying back to New York, and of course, as you know, New York was under 21 inches of snow. 26 inches of snow fell in Central Park in one day.
Whoa.
It was the heaviest snowfall they've had since records began in 1868, I think it was.
Good old North Atlantic current.
Yeah, it's coming our way as well. But she couldn't fly back. Her flight was not going back. She was staying in England for a bit longer, which she wasn't expecting, but was quite happy about. So, but no, not a lot else I can say about that convention apart from the fact that it was fantastic, and it's a shame. It's good that it's only twice a year because it's something you've got to look forward to. It wouldn't be the same if there was too many of them. Yep. But by the same token, because it's the fourth one I've been to on the trot and I've made some really good friends, even though I keep in touch with some of these guys and go on the forums and that, it's nice to think, oh, well, there's September, there's the next convention. But by the same token, it's like wishing your life away, isn't it? It's like, oh, God, that's sort of 7 or 8 months away, so you don't like to waste time wishing time away. But I'm already looking forward to the next one, so it's the best compliment I can pay. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll say more about that. The site.
The site?
Yes.
Speak to me.
Well.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are we've got an awful lot of extra news in there recently, haven't we?
We have.
We have.
Yes.
And I don't think it's any the worse for it.
Well, no, I mean...
I'm going to be honest about it.
Oh, I'm glad you think so. I think, regards to news, the thing is, with it just being the two of us running the site at the moment, it's difficult, as opposed to the older days when we got John and Paul as well. In the old days, I could say to John, write us a story, mate. Or he'll come to me and say, I've written 3 stories this week. And it was constant. It was the sort of thing I could backlog stories and know that there's stuff that's sitting there waiting to go on the site. But of course, now with it just being me and you, it's not the same. We can't count on that anymore. So it's difficult to find original stuff to put on the site. When stuff does go on it, you've got to make more of it. So now the good thing about it since the relaunch, which is, that's the thought. What's the date today? It's the 13th, isn't it?
Yep.
Next week. No, sorry, the week after next will be our 1 year since our relaunch. So we'll have to do something to celebrate that.
I think we'll have to.
We'll have to do a special Setnin radio or something.
Ah, good on you, mate. I knew you'd say that.
Thank you. We can do a little look back at the year. We can...
Do you know you're creaking?
I am creaking.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, it's easier to sort of find news items and put news items on and make it a bit of a news site as well. I mean, like I say, the last sort of few weeks, I've been talking a lot about Firewall, Harrison Ford's new film.
Yes.
Because obviously Harry's going to sort of move on to doing Indy 4 pretty soon.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. So it's quite pertinent. Sadly, it didn't do well at all at the box office this week. It took 13.2 million, I think it was.
Do you think much of that's got to do with the weather? Pretty much half the...
Female and 30 for 35 or something, the film.
Yeah.
Number one film this week was Pink Panther, which personally... I think it's an appalling idea of trying to remake the Pink Panther anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, there was only one version of Pink Panther, and that's
true.
You know,
yeah, agreed. I mean, they'll never top that. That's it. So they're never going to top that. As good as Steve Martin is, lousy idea, but it took $21 million. There you go. Final Destination 3 went in at number 2 with 20 million. Curious George, which is an animated, I think it's a Dr. Seuss story. We never really got that so much over in the UK, did we?
No,
Dr. Seuss. It's very much an American thing.
My kids are into it, though.
Yeah, well, it's become the thing now, isn't it? If it's big in America, kids over here tend to get it now. That went in at number 3. Will Ferrell doing a voice, and then Firewall at number 4. So I was surprised and disappointed.
Yeah, I think I think now people have. Well, it's one of these things, isn't it? I think it's one of those films that once people have seen it and the word spreads a little bit, it'll get a bit quicker. A bit like Kong was initially.
Yeah.
I mean, Kong was initially, for the size of the movie, was actually very slow to take off.
Oh yeah.
But then it sort of like barreled for a while, and then it dropped off again.
It's dropped off terribly.
It's
dropped out of the top 25. I think.
Well, I don't think it's even on the cinemas in the UK at the moment, is it?
No, I think it's pretty much done. It's
down,
only February. I mean, it's for a film of that size and that budget. It cost $209, I think, and in the States, I think it took about $220.
Yeah,
which is awful.
But worldwide, it's done quite a good deal.
Yeah, 5 something. But when you think that the lowest grossing Lord of the Rings movie took over 800 million worldwide, it's only done just over half of what that did. Not that that's any indicator of quality. It's a good film, and it'll do well on DVD, I would imagine. But yeah,
I think it'll be so. Right, you're saying anyway.
Yeah, how well Narnia's done. It's only now sitting about $2 million behind Goblet of Fire in the States. Of course, worldwide, I think last time I looked, Narnia's done high 600 million worldwide, might be pushing 7, which is fantastic. Whereas obviously Goblet of Fire did just a bit more than Revenge of the Sith. I think Sith did 848 and Goblet had done about 870 the last time we looked. So that's big numbers, and that's not that far behind Philosopher's Stone.
That's not that bad at all, actually. I mean, I will admit I haven't actually seen Narnia. I don't think.
Oh, it's a brilliant film.
Is it as good as, for example, Goblet of Fire? Better?
No. It's the thing is, it's unfair to compare. The kids in Narnia, for the most part, are slightly younger than the kids in Potter now. The kids in Potter were sort of 14, 15, 16 really, and so well embedded in the roles. Potter's well, you saw it before me, Potter's a very dark film and quite grim, and I was talking at the weekend with my friends down at the convention. I've not read the books, so I don't know what happens in Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince and that, but they say that it gets even darker. It gets darker. A lot darker. So there's more to come, which I'm relishing. I'm looking forward to it. Narnia, though, it's 2 hours long. Whereas Potter's a bit longer than that. Yeah, and it could have stood being half an hour longer. Whereas we've mentioned this before, Kong needed to be half an hour shorter. Yeah. So
and again, Potter probably could have done with half an hour longer, and you wouldn't have noticed.
No, it's getting that sort of weight about it, isn't it, Potter now? It's become more than just a kid's book. Although everyone's looking forward to the 7th and final Potter book, and did you know that Rowling has actually completed another book?
Yeah.
Another children's book, slanted at a slightly younger audience, nothing to do with Potter, completely original, something new, before she starts work on the 7th book. And
that's interesting.
Mischievous is that. So maybe she's thinking the next franchise, it's got to have been optioned.
Yes, I suppose you're right in that respect. I mean, you don't make something unless you've got something, someone to sort of like bite off.
No, and she's obviously hard up. She's only sold about 300 million copies of the Potter book, so she must be really broke. So.
No, I think she's only made about 100 million.
And the rest. She's worth more money than the Queen now.
Is she?
Literally, quite genuinely.
Gosh.
Yeah. Probably. She's put a keys under a bed.
Crikey.
Yeah, big bed. So
very big bed.
Yeah. So of course we've got the Oscars coming up, and we'll see how Narnia and War of the Worlds do, both ILM films. Fully expecting Kong to win it.
Don't know. I think some of the effects in Narnia are supposed to be pretty hot.
They are very good, very good. The thing about Kong is that, again, the Kong creature itself is flawless. Like at the time, Gollum was flawless. If they did Gollum now, they could do Gollum significantly better than he was then.
Yes.
It's funny how quickly your eye gets used to these things and how fast the technology moves.
I'm going to say this now, Yoda. Episode 2.
Yeah. Yes, looks pretty flimsy compared to the episode 3 one.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a huge difference.
And even from the beginning, from the end of episode 1, up to maybe the beginning and middle of episode 2, do not compare with the Yoda you see in the final scenes of episode 2.
No.
Which is strange, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Considering the amount of time they've had to get it right.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
So, back to the facts.
Yeah.
Oscars. You say you're not excited this year, as you were?
No, I'm not. And the one thing that's really let me down, I had hopes that it would not be nominated for soundtracks. I think it's a superb soundtrack. But, by all accounts, and I can't really comment because I haven't heard either of them, his work on Geisha and Munich are fantastic.
Right.
Geisha has already won, I think, a Golden Globe.
Yes.
Munich, though, seems to be the one that people are talking about. So, it must be great work, because I thought Revenge of the Sith.
I've seen some bits of that. I'm actually impressed with the movie.
Yeah, I really do want to see it. Again, some friends of mine from the weekend said they'd seen Munich and said it was really something special.
Oh, another one I've seen recently, Underworld Evolution.
I really want to see that. Is it good?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? Better than the first one?
I think probably in some respects, yes. The first one was good, but not as much action going on in the first one as there was in the second.
Yeah.
Second is to the first as Blade 2 is to Blade 1.
Got it.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's more of the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I just like that leather costume.
She took that costume home, and she's married to the director, and in the interview she said, I could do the dishes in this costume. And I'm thinking, well, I won't. It is, thank goodness.
Right. But yes, I have to say the costume goes well with the role, and her character does almost what I call a Lestat.
Mm-hmm.
Le Vampire Lestat. In as much as she gains some superpowers, even as vampires go.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Oh, right. Well, I'm still listing things to see. So I've not seen anything for a while. I mean, I want to see Jarheads. Yeah, Jarheads. I want to see Jarheads.
I want to see Fireball.
Yes, definitely Fireball. Definitely want to see Fireball.
At some point, actually, Narnia's still on, you know.
Yeah, Narnia's.
Which is amazing me, because Kong's come off.
Yeah.
In the UK, Narnia's still on, so I might even pop in and see that tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.
You should. Narnia, yes, you should. Narnia's well worth your time. Well worth your time.
I shall do that then.
I think you should.
That's alright.
But for the website, the website's going well. There's new stuff going on all the time. Put the David Goyman interview on yesterday.
Yep.
Which I'm very pleased about, because David's a good friend and he's always sending us information to the site. He's a good lad, so that's good news. Need to get some more star interviews.
Yeah.
We've got Christopher Malcolm going on this coming Sunday, who played Zev Seneca, one of the Snowspeed pilots from Empire. And anybody who's into comedy will know he plays Safi's dad in Absolutely Fabulous. So that's pretty cool. Then we've got Mike Verter, the composer, whose interview's going on the week after that. And then we've got Otis Frampton, who's a Star Wars artist.
Right.
But then, actually, believe it or not, considering what a fantastic run we've had with interviews, we run out of interviews.
Mark,
I know.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked.
I've got about 10 people who are supposed to be replying, and I'm still waiting on most of them. So, fingers crossed.
So if you listen to Setnin Radio, dear guests,
yes,
please send back the information.
Please do.
Do get back to us as soon as you can.
All our wonderful webmaster interview people.
Yes.
They're our peers, aren't they?
They are.
They're doing the same thing as we are. So we can, of course they are.
Oh.
You know, slightly different, but they're doing it. So I can sort of lean on them a bit, because we're all in the same boat.
the picture of Princess Leia that I've got on my computer, I tell you.
I bet they haven't. So I can sort of say to them,
thanks a lot, Mark.
Oh, don't mind,
That's okay.
I can lean on them a bit, but as far as the guests go, the star guests, you can't exactly write and say, "Good God, man, you've had these answers for 3 months. When are you going to get it sorted?"
Yes.
So I'm in the lap of the gods there. But anyway, what's the old time code on the old doodah whatnot?
Do you know what it doesn't say? It's a bit naff, really, isn't it? Yes.
Well,
I'm not worried about it, though.
I'm guessing we're fairly close.
Yes, I'm close to space limitations.
Yes.
So we're using a new recording device this week.
We are.
It's a little PDA. So we've had to stop it once because like an absolute pillock, I got it recording to the memory in the machine rather than the memory on the external card. But
we got away with it.
But we got away with it, just about. Just between coughing fits. So, anyway, we've come pretty much to the end of what we wanted to say this week.
The end. Just a couple of other things I want to mention.
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica, absolutely fantastic. Just watched season 2 episode, about the 6th episode.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Got to say, just in the 16th episode, awesome.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? And speaking of Starbuck, you would, wouldn't you?
You would, wouldn't you?
You would.
Smallville.
Oh, go.
Yeah, latest episode of that. Again,
yes.
Another good one. They're not dropping off.
No, well, that's good.
No, they are. They're getting really, there's some really good stuff in there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hope it carries forward the same way.
I'm sure it will. Waiting for more news on the new Star Wars TV series. Talking to people down at the ball, a lot of people dubious about it. Think Lucas should leave it alone. Personally, in my own opinion, there's too many stories left to tell, so I don't think he should leave it alone.
No, I don't think he should. In fact, I would love to see some of the untold stories about some of the main characters as well. I'd love to see how Chewie and Han got together.
Yeah, I know.
That's one of my big ones.
I'm pretty sure you're going to see it. I think he's been saving stuff for an event like this TV series. So I think that's definitely on the cards. We've got to talk a bit more and start planning a bit more on our audio drama that we're going to do this year.
Yes,
because we could fall into the trap of planning it and then not doing anything with it. So
didn't we do that with Setnin Radio initially?
Yes, we did.
We did.
It took us a year, but here we are. But this has got to get going this year. Even if, as long as we're recording it this year, even if it doesn't go out.
Well, before we do anything, we need a script.
Yes, I need to speak to Mr. Hicks.
Mr. Hicks.
He's going to help us out with the script.
Is he?
He's back on board as far as the script's concerned.
Oh, blimey.
Which is great news, isn't it?
It is.
Means you and me can concentrate on other things.
Yeah. Not voice acting skills.
Not voice acting skills.
Yes.
Good grief. So there you go.
Droids.
Please don't even start. Look, we'll quit while we're ahead.
Right.
Anyway. There you go. Whilst you go have another coughing fit, I'm going to drink this peppermint tea you've made for me.
Thank you very much.
And I think from Setnin Radio episode 12.
Yes, we've milked it long enough.
The non-award winning Setnin Radio episode 12.